Good evening. Anna Bligh has announced an ambitious plan to give Queensland children their own education trust fund of up to $10,000. 7 News reporter Jeff Bruce joins us from State Parliament. Jeff, the Premier wants to foot the bill using the state's resources boom.
That's right, Rod. Over the next 10 years, the state government will get a windfall of $1.8 billion from coal seam gas royalties, and it wants to use half that money to give every school leaver in the state nearly $10,000 for further education.
Anna Bligh says this is one of the big ideas she wants at the heart of next year's election campaign.
Taking the energy out of the ground and turning it into something that can fuel our economy and our state for generations to come.
In 3 years' time, coal seam gas exports will start generating more than $100 million a year in royalties to the government, a figure that will rise to nearly $1 billion in 2030. The Premier wants half that stream to go into a special fund. The first option would give every child born in Queensland after July 1 next year their own education nest egg that can only be accessed when they finish school in 2030.
Could be HECS, it could be TAFE fees, it could be equipment and tools for an apprenticeship.
The second option would be for the system as a whole rather than individuals, but could be accessed as soon as the CSG royalties flow.
We could have a combination of these models, we could go for one or the other. That's a question I want Queenslanders to talk about.
That discussion won't end until February of next year, just before the next state election's due. The Premier won't say if the plan will be finalised before we go to the polls.
And this is the sort of thing that we'll get the details put in place as far as we can before the election and then after the election.
There is nothing revolutionary about what the Premier has said today about spending money that she doesn't actually have yet.
Mr Newman wants to use gas royalties to establish his own sovereign fund with different priorities.
To build hospitals and schools, to actually build roads and railway lines and ports to continue to grow the economy when the gas is gone.
Rod, the 17 February timing of the public discussion seems to rule out a state election before that date, and it may also give the Premier a chance to boost her meagre standing in the polls.
OK, thanks. Jeff Bruce live from Parliament House.